Hello everyone and welcome to yet another deck profile, and today we're mixing up two of the decks that I actually made a deck profile about, and that would be the Palkia Terapagos. So, for our Pokemon, we have two Terapagos EX, we have two Origin Form Palkia VSTARs, we have two Origin Form Palkia Vs, we got two Fan Rotoms, we got three Noctowls, we got four Hoothoot, we got one Radiant Greninja, we got one Fezandipiti EX, we got one Mew EX, we have one Squawkabilly EX to reset our hand, and as our late game attacker we have one Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX. So for our supporters we have two Boss's Orders, we have one Irida, we have one Professor's Research, we have one Iono, we have one Judge, we have one Thorton, and we have one Kieran. For our item cards, we have 4 Nest Ball, we have 4 Ultra Ball, we have 3 Night Stretchers, we have 2 Earthen Vessel, we have 2 Glass Trumpets, we have 1 Bari Bari Puffin, we have 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball to get our basic Pokemon from the prizes, we have 1 Prime Catcher as the ace spec of choice, we have 1 Switch, we have 1 Lost Vacuum to deal with Pokemon tools, we have 1 Canceling Cologne to deal with Mimikyus, and we have 1 Energy Switch to turn the energy from our colorless Pokemon to our Terapagos EX. For our stadiums we have 3 Area 0 Underdepths, and for our energy counts we have 7 basic water energies. Okay, so one of the things about this deck, it's actually, in my opinion and in opinion of most of the people, the second best way to play the Terapagos EX. The best one is arguably with Clough, but this one seems to be, I don't know, in my opinion, a bit easier build, but also very, very diverse and very fun to play. And it has a lot of things you can do with this deck as well. You have the Glass Trumpets, the Energy Switch, the Noctowls. It's very, very interesting deck to play. I liked it a lot when I tested it out. And also, with that, it actually is a better version of Palkia, because pure Palkia VSTAR, or the one with the Dusk Lops and Dusk Norse and such, tends to have a 40% win rate into this one. So this one has like a 60% win rate onto the other Palkia builds, and it also has a 60% win rate into the other Terapagos builds, except for the Terapagos Clough, which is slightly favored against this build. Among other very good matchups is actually one of the best decks in the format right now, and that is the Regidrago VSTAR. It actually, the high damage output of the Palkia VSTAR and the Terapagos hitting high numbers, because we're not using DTE, the damage isn't capped at 220, it's actually capped at 240, but both of those numbers are actually high enough to knock out their Ogre-Pons and Fezandipitis and basic Regidrago Vs and such. So it actually has a pretty good matchup into one of the best decks in the current format, which is really, really good. And another deck that's been kind of popping out lately is the Thorn's Dragapult, and this deck actually has a pretty good win percentage onto the Thorn's Dragapult, which is not at all bad. So it actually has a pretty good matchup spread into the top decks of the format, so the Regidrago, the Thorn's Dragapult, it has a slightly unfavored into the Palkia Terapagos, and it has even more slightly unfavored matchup into one of the most popular decks currently, and that would be the Charizard EX. It actually is a bit more tricky to get through the 340 HP that the Charizard EX has, which is kind of not so great, but yeah, that's one of the 4 top popular decks. In others, like Palkia Terapagos, it's slightly unfavored, into Charizard slightly unfavored, into Regidrago quite favored, and onto the Raging Bolt it's very 50-50, so it has a very good matchup spread. However, there are other decks that are maybe not as played as those 4 decks that I just mentioned, and those are the Control and Stall archetypes. And talk about Snorlax Control, Snorlax Stall, it actually has a horrible matchup into it, as well as it has a very bad matchup into the Pidgeot Control, which is not great, but those are not decks that you would see a lot. But in those decks, it has a really horrible matchup, for sure. So, thanks so much for watching, you guys, and catch you next time.